Alright, so it was just Halloween here, and with all the holidays quickly approaching, I am throwing myself directly into protective mode and making sure I am ready when all my unhealthy sugar and junk food cravings hit hard. I've lost 60 pounds by anticipating stuff like this and being ready for it. So today's video, I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing. So here's the thing when it comes to making a delicious chocolate treat, is that one, it's usually on the higher fat side, which is what we don't want when we're trying to lose weight. And two, more often than not, it usually consists of some type of dairy. But I've got both of those things covered, and I personally played around with chocolate recipes quite a bit. And I must say that this is hands down one of my favorite recipes. You're not gonna wanna miss this. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that it's low fat, dairy free, no refined sugars added. It is amazing. While the kids have their Halloween treats tonight, this will be Mummy's treat tonight. Alright, but before we jump into this delicious recipe, in case it's the first time you're landing on my channel, if you are also on a health and weight loss journey following a plant-based diet and you're a little bit lost as far as what you should be eating, or like me, you're also kind of anticipating the holidays approaching and really don't want to derail all of your efforts and progress up until this point, then maybe I can help, because I have actually put together several of my weight loss recipe ebooks containing the exact recipes that I was eating to lose 60 pounds. What separates my recipes from the others is that I use zero overt fats, no oil, no nuts, no seeds, nothing high fat, because that is how I lost my weight. So all of these recipes are designed with weight loss in mind. And in the spirit of Halloween, I'm running an incredible sale, one of the best I've ever had. And that is that all of my books, including my bundles, are 60% off right now for the next 48 hours only. Link can be found in the description box below. All right, so let's jump into this recipe. So to start, I'm using my date caramel recipe. Ooh, this is so delicious. This can be found in my newest weight loss recipe ebook. I will also have this linked in my description box below. And in fact, this entire recipe that I'm showing you today will be posted in my description box below. So don't worry about having to write anything down. Just when the video's done, you can go down there and take a screenshot and you'll be good to go. So the other thing I want to mention about this recipe is that you can use one of two things. You can use this date caramel if you want a dessert that's a little bit more on the soft and creamy side texture wise. If you're looking for something that's a little bit on the chewier, harder, crispier, crunchier type of side, if you will, then you can actually just roll out a few dates, like, 6 or 7 or 8 dates, roll them out as a base, and you can use that instead. So it's totally up to you. And then you can just use the following steps all the same. So here I'm using some powdered peanut butter. Again, don't worry about the measurements. They will be posted below. And I'm just going to go ahead and spread this over the caramel or the dates, whichever one you're using. And another thing worth noting when it comes to the powdered peanut butter is that I do like to use the sugar-free version. I find that this recipe is sweet enough with all of those dates, as well as I like to keep it the healthiest that I can in terms of not adding any refined added sugar. So yeah, the sugar-free version is the way to go. So now we're going to go ahead and make the low-fat chocolate. So I'm using some cacao powder. Unsweetened cocoa powder works just as fine as well. And then we're going to go ahead and mix that with some maple syrup, and voila, we have some delicious low-fat chocolate syrup. I also have this chocolate recipe in my Zero Overt Fats Part 2 weight loss recipe ebook, and honestly, this chocolate sauce can be used on multiple things. Nice cream is one of them. It's so amazing. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead here and just carefully spread out this chocolate. We're trying to create 3 even layers between the caramel, the nut butter, as well as the chocolate. And I should also mention that I just happened to make this in a round shape, but you can make it into any shape you want. If you want it to be really fancy, you could make it into a heart, you could make it into whatever you desire. But I just found that it was easier just to kind of spread things out in a circular motion. So that's the only reason for the shape. So here, lastly, I'm just adding a little bit of added sea salt. Again, this is a step that's optional. You do not have to add the salt if you're salt free, but it just kind of brings all those flavors together, a little bit of sweet and salty, if you will. So from here, we're going to go ahead and pop this into the freezer. I left it in for a minimum of 3 hours. This is what it looks like after 3 hours. So it's firmed up enough that you can actually take a big bite of that right there or cut it up into some pieces. And then of course, the longer that you leave it in the freezer, then the more firm it's going to become. So like I was mentioning earlier in this video, when you make this recipe using the caramel date paste like I showed, it just gives a really creamy type of texture, almost like you're eating a delicious pie. It is so, so, so good. I love it. However, the other version using just the rolled out dates is just as good in terms of flavor, just provides a different texture. I've loved it both ways. And I think my absolute favorite thing about this recipe is that it can be made in advance, and that's what we need when we're on a weight loss journey. We need to be ready for things like Halloween or Black Friday or Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's. You know, we have all these holidays coming. There is a way to be prepared, and also that you're not feeling left out or deprived of anything. So when you make a recipe like this, you can keep it in the freezer and just take out a piece here or there when you're having one of those emergency, junk food cravings and you need something to kind of hit the mark. Weight loss should never be about deprivation. It's just about finding healthier alternatives. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. And don't forget about that awesome book sale. It's the lowest sale I've ever had, and it will only be running for the next 48 hours. Again, you can find the link in the description box below. See you guys in the next one.